I always tell you guys to like acknowledge your feelings, don't bury it because that makes it worse. Being honest instead of acting like, oh, I'm a superwoman and I have no feelings and I never cry and I never get upset and I never get stressed out. That's not being authentic. It's just being real towards you guys and say, listen, mom's having a moment. I need a timeout, or I need to go for a walk, or this is what's going on in my mind. I think that is showing you guys a lot more empowerment at that moment. My mission is to empower women to fearlessly embrace and live their authentic lives. Today's episode is different. It's personal, it's real, and honestly, it's one of the most meaningful conversations I've ever had. With Mother's Day around the corner, I didn't want to just talk about motherhood. I wanted to experience it live, unfiltered, with two of my daughters. Because motherhood today looks different. It's layered, it's beautiful, but it's also challenging in ways we don't always talk about. We're raising daughters in a world of comparison, pressure, and lots of noise while trying to stay connected to ourselves. So today, we're opening up the conversation, not just as a coach that I am, not just as a podcast host, but as a mom. And with my two wonderful daughters, growing, learning, and becoming. This is about love, truth, growth, and what motherhood really feels like on both sides. So, welcome. So, everyone, this is my daughter Yasmin.
Hi.
Yeah. And then I have Isabella here.
Hi.
Is it okay? And Yasmin, as you guys know, I mean, I've talked about them so many times in my episodes. She is going to be 21 in August. She's in third year in college and she's studying political science. And then my other daughter, Isabella, she is graduating this year. It's bittersweet for me. So in just a little bit more time, she's going to be going off and starting a new chapter in her life. And I do have a son, which I don't know. He didn't. I don't think he wanted to be on this episode. I mentioned it briefly, but he was like, "Mom, to just keep it mother and daughter." He's a freshman in high school. So. I just wanted to make this really real and relaxed because I feel like this is a perfect time to do it. I'm going to ask some questions of my daughters and then I'm going to have them reverse the roles because I know they're going to love to do this to ask me some questions. And then that's it. We're just going to have some fun. So I'm gonna ask, I'll just start off and you guys can pick whoever wants to answer or, however it feels good. And there are a bunch of giggles usually. So, okay. So when you think of me as your mom, what's one word that comes to mind and why? This one I want both of you to answer. So Yasmin, you go first.
I would say resilient because because like you persevere and you have so much in your life that you've gone through and you've instilled in me and Bella as well to make us who we are. So I would say that you're very resilient, and now with everything you've created as like with your podcast and everything, I feel like someone who's resilient is someone who starts with some obstacles and ends in a very strong way, if that makes sense.
Very good. Thank you.
I would use the words of inspiring or determined, similar to Yasmin, but I think that you've been through a lot and you've always come out of it, like looking at things on the bright side, and you've created this entire platform for yourself based off like your own ideas and based off like your own dream, and that takes a lot of determination to do something like that. So I think you're not only determined, but also very inspiring for me and Yasmin.
Thank you guys. What do you think being a mom today looks like compared to what you imagined or you've seen like in old movies? Because things have changed a lot. So, what do you think it's easier? Is it more difficult? Is it more complicated?
I would say it's, in my opinion, it'd be more complicated because when you were growing up, there wasn't all this technology and different things with like social media and comparison, especially with raising daughters, and like the generations are just so much different. Like even when it comes to like boys or the way people dress or like social media. So I would say it's hard, especially like sometimes when your generation wasn't the same as our generation. I feel like sometimes it's hard to like understand how we feel and for us to also understand how you feel when you were in a different generation than us. So I would say that's how um, the perspective of a mother has changed over the years.
Definitely. Isabella, you have anything to add to that or?
I would say she basically hit everything I was going to say as well. I think that technology has had a really big impact on mother and daughter's relationships, or just in general, the way like daughters feel about themselves with their friends, with boys, with the way they like see themselves, or whatever it may be. So I think it's definitely a lot harder to be a mom now than it definitely was in the past because there's so many more obstacles and things you have to understand to try to understand your daughter or like relate to them that like you didn't have back in the day. So I think it's a lot harder.
Definitely. And I have to say, actually, with Yasmin, she was born exactly the time that the iPhone was like, come to life. And it was really, really challenging because now when I think back to the way I understand the phone, I understand all the social media, like with my son Blake. But with Yasmin, I have to say, I was a lot more tough on her because it was really scary. It was the unknown. I had no idea. I just felt like she could open up a chat and go and be with anyone anywhere, and it was really scary for me. So I that was when I think all mothers at that time, we were trying to navigate. It's like the watch, the phone, the screen time, and that creates a lot more conflict in the relationship because they're excited, they want to try something that all their friends are doing, and as moms we're terrified what this new world is bringing to them. So when do you feel most connected to me? Because I know we have ups and downs, and now I feel like you guys are at an age. It's just getting better each year because you're adults and we understand each other more. But it hasn't always been like that, right? That's just with everyone. But when do you feel that we're most connected? Is it at a certain time, age, or a conversation, something we're doing that's bonding us?
Um, I would say the times I felt most connected were like definitely when I was like really young, from like age, I don't know, to being born to like, I don't know, wherever it was to that middle school awkward phase that you kind of have, or that like early high school phase where like that's the phase with mother and daughters that I feel like you don't really see eye to eye on a lot of things just because you're trying to grow up and like like you were, especially like you said, strict on me. So I feel like we kind of like had some issues with some topics. But then I feel like I feel the most connected when I was really young and now, because now like you are still my mom, but you're more like a best friend. We hang out, I tell you stuff, and it's less about like, oh, being an authority like figure, which you still are in some ways, but like and you hang out, like it's more like we get to hang out, or like when we go to like Pilates or yoga or all those activities that like we share because me and you are very similar and we have those things in common, or like hikes and stuff. That's when I feel the most connected. And also when I like confide in you about something that's going on at like an age that I'm at now, I feel like it's nice because like nothing can replace like telling your mom.
Beautiful. And I have to say another thing for any moms listening out there, when your kids confide in you, I know I sometimes make that mistake, but never ever bring it up again because that's when the bond breaks. And that's what I've noticed that I have to like really make sure because sometimes you're in a fight, you're angry, and then you bring up something. That's the worst thing you can do in your relationship, even though no matter how angry you are and they have shared something that's maybe horrible, something that they have done or something they've confessed to you, do not bring it back up to them during that argument because it breaks that trust and that bond. So, Bella, anything?
I would definitely say like opening up to you has definitely been like where I feel the most connected to you, especially about topics that I was probably scared to go to you about, or I wanted advice or something like that, or something that happened with someone else and I really want to talk to someone about it. Like talking to you has definitely made me more connected to you when you give me really good advice and we go from there because I feel like I'm opening up a part of like my private life to you that you might not know about if I hadn't told you. So, I'd say that.
Okay, good. Now, I know you've been in this household and you've heard so much about empowerment, and you're probably like done with this word. But what does empowerment mean to you at your age right now?
Um, I feel like taking charge as a woman, especially standing your ground, and knowing who you are, especially in college also like I feel like there's not really that like stigma anymore to like I mean as much where like people think like women are below men, but taking charge and like going after your future and being a go-getter, I feel like that's all part of being empowered.
Yeah.
Okay. When do you feel the most powerful in who you are? Is
Um,
it is it like it can be like academically in a friendship and in a relationship when you're in your workout class? Like when do you feel like I got this? Like I can handle anything that comes my way.
I would probably say academically. I think that when I study and I put in hard work and effort into a test and I do well on it, I feel the most powerful in that moment that like I can accomplish things that I put my mind to. But I also feel that way, like you said, in friendships or when I'm working out and I'm challenging myself to either confront my friend or share how I'm feeling about a situation or doing that workout class at 6 a.m. even though I'm super tired. That stuff to me is like when I do feel the most powerful and I feel super good after I accomplish those things.
Okay, that's great. What is something you've learned from me, not just from what I say, but from how I live?
Like I would say, you've mentioned this before, but me and Bella both, like, I definitely think we got these qualities from you where we like all are very like we have grit and like we have willpower and like we're very determined. Like if we set our mind to something, we all do it. I feel like we all have that in common. Like if it's just coming back from a vacation and being like, oh, I ate this, I'm gonna wake up at 5 a.m. or in the morning and I'm gonna work out because of this, or like I'm going to score well on this test, or I'm going to get into this college, or I'm going to be a lawyer, like stuff like that. Like when you say something, we give our 100% till we get there, and we'll seek every resource or network or do whatever we need to get there.
Yeah. And I would also say that you've taught us to be very like selfless, like you're always giving back to people, helping someone, being very empathetic like towards everyone else, trying to understand everyone's perspective, not to judge anyone, have a kind heart. You always told us that like hate is such a strong word, like you should never use that towards someone else, even if they did you like wrong in the most like horrible ways. Like hate is such a strong word and you shouldn't use that just carelessly. So I feel like a lot of those things on how to treat others, how to treat yourself, you've really guided us in the right direction of always having like a kind heart.
Thank you, ladies. It's amazing to me that you actually are listening to the things that I say, even though I don't think you do, and actually watching the things that I'm doing. So I'm so happy that just makes me so happy. Um, what does confidence mean to you? Because sometimes people mix up confidence and empowerment, and they're two different things. So what does it mean to you to be confident?
Like know who you are and like I feel like as a girl, like it's hard sometimes like with comparison or other people, but knowing like this is who I am, like even aside from appearances, like just like who you are inside of you and like your personality and kind of like I feel like empowerment is like more the action of like
Like
going out,
following through?
yeah, but like confidence is more what's inside you and how you feel internally.
Yeah, and I'd also say like embracing like who you are, not trying to be someone else, embracing your flaws or whatever it may be. Like that's being confident in yourself that no matter what someone else could say or try to bring you down, like you know who you are and that like no one's opinion is gonna change that.
Very good. Very nice. Now, I know this is huge right now. Do you guys feel pressure from the world, the social media, school, expectations? Do you feel that pressure, and what does that feel like for you?
I would say 100% like I feel pressure from school, the world, social media, all of that. Obviously, it's not a very good feeling because it feels like, you want to do well in school, you want to succeed. I have amazing parents who've instilled great values in me to like be successful, but at the end of the day, that all comes down with some sort of pressure to get into a good school and like do well and make my parents happy. And also, on social media, you want to post all the right things, you want to be traveling, you want to have the newest things and like that can also that's a different type of form of pressure. But all of that combined can be a lot when you have social media and everyone's watching your everyday move and they can see you're at home or what you're posting on Instagram and you just feel like everyone's watching you at certain times. So there can be a lot of pressure to prove to people that you can be all that and you can do a ton of different things. So I would say, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yasmin, do you have anything to add or just
I
similar?
mean, I think she covered a lot of it, but it's just society these days. I feel like it was always bad, but I feel like it's much worse now because of social media. I mean, I personally feel a lot of pressure. I could be very anxious when it comes to exams or academic performance or anything, honestly. But like around those realms, like it's just like I feel like I'm carrying a lot, not just from you guys, because I know you guys have raised us to like care, and those are all like be successful. Those are all great qualities, but also for myself, like this is my in the end my career, my future. So I feel like it's a very heavy sometimes. And with society and like with like buying things and items, going out and doing that, yeah, I also feel like there's a pressure to be like, oh, I need to be this, I need to look like this, I need to wear this, I need to have this. So it's like sometimes it's like really hard to like navigate in your mind.
Now, let me ask you this. If there was a choice to say no social media, like let's say it was like still cool or whatever, because we've had these deep conversations before, like the pressure of the phone and like what you're posting and and then seeing who's doing what or who's wearing what, who's where. Would you, in a happy, perfect world, would like to not have any of that? Like if you had a choice, because I know a lot of times as kids get older and older, they choose to be like, I'm done with Snapchat, or I'm done with Instagram, or I'm just out of here. Is that something that you can see yourself doing? Or if you had a magic wand where everyone could, be like, we're done, we're done. Is that something, or you actually sincerely enjoy it and you love it and you want your kids to have it and, you don't think it kind of
I
takes over a little bit?
I
I
would
feel
say oh, you go
you
first.
go ahead.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, I would argue that I think the big reason why a lot of people have phones and we all have TikTok, we all have Instagram, we all have Snapchat, it's based on the fact that everyone has it. If everyone didn't have it, why would I need it? It's more the fact that you want to fit in. When all your friends have Snapchat and they're making plans to hang out and you don't have Snapchat, you're automatically going to feel excluded. When people at school are talking about this video on TikTok and this influencer and you don't have TikTok, you're going to feel excluded. That's just the same thing. So let's say if I could take a magical wand and have everyone not have social media, sure, beautiful, that's fine, and I wouldn't be mad at that. There was once a time where people didn't live with the phones and they were fine. But because everyone has it, like I don't think I'm willing to give that up because I like some of the positive things it offers me to where that I also wouldn't want to give it up to not be able to communicate with people and be involved with my friends the way I am now because truly like if you don't have social media in this day and age at the age that me and Yasmin are like you are going to feel excluded, you are going to not understand a lot of things. So I think it's a lot harder than it seems to just be like, okay, I'm just going to delete all my social media apps because it's so instilled in our society, like we've grown up with it, that to not have it, you're kind of outcasted.
No, yeah, I mean, I agree. I think there's also a lot of good that comes from it in the sense that you can stay connected. Like, especially for me, like who doesn't see a lot of my friends that live back home, like I
Mhm.
wouldn't talk to them at all if I didn't have social media or know what's going on in their lives. But I will say, when I was in high school, I think I went on my phone way more. And now that I'm in college, I try to be a little bit limit myself. I put like screen time on my TikTok and I get like alerts or like after certain times I'm not on it, or I try to limit it because I have so much going on. And like sometimes I'm out of the loop on like certain things on Instagram or certain reels because I'm trying sort of balance my life. So like sometimes I think personally, like I feel like it helps me so much with like everything. Like like staying connected and like even cooking or like random things like I
Mhm.
find out things I want to do from social media. But like also like sometimes I want to be away from it. So like I won't go on it. Like just I want to do my own thing. I don't want to be on it. So it's nice to just step back sometimes. But I don't think it would ever be possible to like have it disappear. I think we're too modern in our society right now. We're too dependable on it. Like it's not gonna be possible. But in like a imaginary world, if you want to go back 25 years, sure, then yeah, maybe social media shouldn't exist.
I love it. That's a perfect answers that I completely agree with both of you. I mean, even as an adult, in a born and raised in a different generation than you guys. Now it's become part of my life. And I think as long as you have self-control and balance, I mean, I love being on a vacation or being somewhere and I just tell myself like I'm done. I'm not looking, I'm not posting. It's being able to allow yourself to give yourself those breaks. I think the only way is if you can really step out is if in your entire circle of friends are in the same boat as you, which is like very difficult for that to happen. So just, move forward with it, but with self-control. That's what I have to say. Um, Now, do you feel like girls today are especially under more pressure? When do you feel the pressure the most? Is it, what based on like what you look like, what you wear, who you're with?
I would definitely say social media has made it a lot more challenging for girls. I think guys have it way more low key. I feel like with girls, there's a standard that a lot of girls want to like get to, if that makes sense. Like your Instagram has to look a certain way, your TikTok, your this or that, and it can really cause a lot of pressure for girls to like fit that certain standard and look how other girls look or post those how the other girl posts. So she was here, I also want to go here. I want to take pictures here. My this outfit, that outfit. It can just be a lot and it's very time consuming. It can be very stressful and a lot of times people also judge you for your social media, like the way it looks. Like when they first meet you, they'll go look on your social media and be like, this person looks weird, and then like just move on without ever actually like interacting with the person. So I feel like social media can really like it's has a lot of pros. It can be very fun, but I think it also applies a lot of pressure to girls than it does to guys, because I think to guys it's more of a joke, than to girls it's more of a serious.
Exactly.
So I think it's not fair sometimes that we're held to such a higher standard to have all these things and look perfect in our photos and have all this pressure. But I mean, it is what it is. Like this is just how it is, and I feel like it's always going to be that way. And I think social media's even been taken more serious than it was back in the day. Like I would say now, like your posts and your TikTok and all that's a lot more serious than it was fun. Yeah.
Agreed. Yes, definitely. Now, when you guys feel overwhelmed, lost, or just like really stressed out, what helps you like bring back your back to yourself to calm down? What
Um,
techniques do you use?
I would say my number one thing would be like Pilates. Like that's because I can like I know like even if something on my phone's going on, like I'm like I don't want to be in a conversation or something, I have to be off my phone. So like that's just immediately like a way for me to like disconnect. And I would also say I'm trying, I don't really do this all the time, but a lot of my roommates they go on like walks and they like listen to podcasts and stuff. I'm not really like I'm trying to
Hopefully, you're listening to your mothers.
I'm trying to add in, but sometimes I don't. I do like walks though, they really help me. Any type of like activity like that
Mhm.
helps. Or even just like calling you either of you two or like a friend. Like that stuff always helps. I'm a big like talker. I like to like talk my feelings out. I'm not a big journaler though, I will say. Like with I've tried this technique and I know some friends that love to journal, but for me, honestly, seeing everything on paper written out of like all the things I'm stressed out about kind of makes me more
More
stressed.
stress.
So everybody's different, but
Hmm.
that like kind of tends to make me spiral more emotionally than otherwise.
I
Okay.
I agree with Yasmin. I'm the same way. I think like physical exercise really calms me down. I especially like to go on the treadmill and just blast my music, and then I'm fine if I just go on that for 30 minutes. All my stress is gone. Working out, Pilates, any of that, or just talking to people, talking to my friends, talking to my parents, just like airing that out feels so much better. Those are really the only two techniques that work for me, though.
Very similar to your mom. I journal, but I love to walk and I do my hot yoga, as you guys know. But I think it's really important for our listeners out there to make sure that you have that toolbox. Like when there's that moment when you feel like anxiety is hitting and you just don't know, you just feel so overwhelmed, you need to know, okay, what's in that toolbox? What am I going to do to be able to handle myself? And each time, if you can go to that, then you feel that, that safeness that you can handle anything that comes your way. Um, Now, what's something you wish moms understood better about daughters today? I mean, it can be me or in general, like you've seen your friends or whatnot. Like, what is something that you feel like they're not getting?
I mean, I don't think it's intentional to not understand, but I think like just I think our generations are just very different. So it's you if I were talking about you, like you try your best to put yourself in our shoes, but ultimately you can't understand unless you're in our shoes. And I feel like it's just so different just with like how everything is like with like social media or like the generation of like people with their phones or like the freedom that certain people have. Like I can say like for me, especially since I was the first child, like not to hate, like I think I had it the hardest. Like I was pretty you guys were way more strict versus like Blake and Bella get to do like a little bit more things that I never got to do. So like that type of thing, like I feel like especially with like being the first child, I could say that like over time you guys grew easier, but like you guys were kind of like shocked, like, oh, what is this generation? Like what's going on? Or like sometimes it's hard to like like my friends in eighth grade are like going on a trip, and I was like, Mom, can I please go? And you were like, absolutely not. But like in this generation, like other kids were, or other people would be like, oh, like that's just normal.
Hmm.
But you've gotten way better. Like I will say this, I went abroad, and that's something that like I didn't never expected to do, and it was the best experience. So I think that might be sidetracking a little bit, but I will add that like I think you understood like, oh, this is a big thing in this generation. I'm gonna let my daughter do it, like type of thing.
Yeah. And following with what Yasmin said, I think she really hit a lot of the stuff that it's not your fault that you can't understand a lot of it. And sometimes as kids, we also don't understand like where you're coming from. Like I think I was so mad that I wasn't able to have sleepovers for like the longest time. And I never understood until honestly, as I got older, it didn't really become that big of a deal because I was like, anyways, one, I prefer my own bed, but two, like I can understand the safety that sometimes can come with that. So sometimes it can just like we won't always understand each other, and that's part of like maturing. I'd say definitely from middle school to I want to say like sophomore year of high school, you're gonna really bump heads. And that's just like normal because you're changing and your mom is confused on what's going on and you have different things you want to do. You want to be with your friends, you want to fit in. And your mom will understand that. She's not 15 years old and she's not going to understand how you feel and that you want to put your friends first or like whatever. Like that's just not going to make sense to her at the moment, but it's not her fault and it's not my fault that I'm not understanding the way she feels. It's just like you're two different people and you're just trying to work together. And at the end of the day, like it just comes down to communicating, being honest, and like trying to build the relationship full of like compromise. And yeah.
Absolutely. I would say it's a lot of learning on my part, as well as yours, but a lot for me just to understand. I think one of the biggest things I have trouble with, or I've gotten a lot better with, is how everyone wants to grow up so much faster. Like every generation, because I see it now, I see it with Blake's generation. Like the girls are a lot, they look a lot older, but it just started when I saw it with Yasmin, and then just through every generation, like we're losing our childhood. We're not little, the girls at age 10, they're acting like they're 14. That's the biggest problem I have. And it just breaks my heart because you'll never get that childhood back. And the other thing to add on, which I think Bella can relate, as I can't handle the mini skirts. I remember when Yasmin first wanted to get what was it, the San Lorenzo bathing suits or something, and they were very skimpy, and I just couldn't understand that. But now that's the norm. That's like everyone is wearing those. Like you can't even find a full bottom bathing suit for your age. Same thing with dresses. Like you can't find a regular size. Everything is mini. It's as many as it can get. But so it's not really you guys' fault. Now it's like that's what the demand is out there. So that's what they're producing. So I know this will make you giggle. So now, is there something that I do as a mom besides get mad at you when your dresses are too short, that frustrates you and you wish that I would do differently?
Mm, okay, I can answer. I would say
I'll answer next. I'll answer next.
No, oh, you guys are ready to answer this.
I would say sometimes I kind of like touched on this a little bit, but I think sometimes you take things like you take times like when I want to hang out with my friends or something personal that like I don't want to hang out with you when it's super normalized as kids like you're saying that you don't understand this like your generation was a little bit different but it's super normalized for kids to go out like Friday and Saturday and be with their friends. So it's hard like I get it. Sometimes I'll stay home myself, but I feel like sometimes when like you're home and like you want to hang out with me, I know it's coming from a good place, but I'm like my friends have these fun plans and like I don't want to miss out and I want to be there. sometimes you take it personal and it's not that I don't want to hang out with you. It's purely that just like I'm a teenager and like my friends, like, I want to have fun senior year. Like that's just kind of where my mindset's at. So that's just one little thing, not a big argument, but like sometimes you get a little mad or
And
sad.
just to add on to that, it is because it's your senior year, so I'm extra sensitive. I'm like counting, I look at the calendar, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's getting closer and closer to graduation. So just have a little compassion, okay?
Okay, yes.
This is a negative and a positive thing because I will say like yes, it like is pretty annoying to me, but like also it's like you're doing it because you mean well, so it's like fine. But I would say my biggest like thing is like credit cards and money,
Oh.
like that little like war I have sometimes with you. It's like a fun, but it's been a lengthy one. I think it has trained us to like be mindful of spending and like I'm grateful that I'm like down to earth and I'm not saying that way, but like I know the value of money and all that. I don't have unlimited money and all that. But sometimes like I just need a new dress and like sorry I had to use your card. Like I need some sympathy to like understand like that sometimes that's hard for me because I feel like when the end of the month comes and like Bella texts me like because I'm not really knowing what's going on in the house, like the credit card statements are out and like there's some highlighted stuff. I'm like, I don't have malicious
I
intent,
know you guys hate those highlights, right? And then you
like
get a text from me.
but
What is
like,
this?
like I sometimes I just need something. But like, not hating, like continue what you're doing. But like I just have to say sometimes I'm just like, like, please, like
So
just
what's the positive in this? I think it's made you
yeah,
very, very,
that's
you're very good at budgeting.
the positive here is I'm good at budgeting and I know some people that like they have unlimited money and they're not really fun to be around because they don't care. So I'm grateful that I know the value of money. But sometimes like I
But
might be I'm in the wrong.
sometimes like you need a new dress. Like you can't
Yeah, exactly. Like, sometimes I need
I
something.
wish that's all it was, Yasmin.
Okay? Like sometimes I
That's
just
a
need
topic for another
sometimes you
episode.
need a new outfit. Like I don't know what to say.
like I need something and like like I don't have the money, so I'm like, you know what? It's okay. Like you live and you learn. So whatever. Okay, we've come a long way with that. But I feel like I don't really deal with like the other thing that Bella was talking about as much because I don't live at home and like I did deal with that later. But I think my biggest thing is like me and my mom get along like so well, but like the credit card stuff, I don't know if that's ever gonna end, to be honest. Like just
Ah, yes, that's
my
where
own job,
my gray hair comes from. Okay, so what have you learned from me that you think will stay with you as you grow, keep growing, besides budgeting?
Um, I would probably say determination. I would say self-respect. I would say understanding like your value and like your purpose and that like showing us that like with the work that you've created and just the past few years has shown me that like truly you can do anything you put your mind to and that like no is never an answer and like whatever you want to do, you can do it. And I think me and Yasmin will take that with us like throughout our life since we both want to also be lawyers. And I have like high expectations for my future that there's going to be a lot of setbacks, but like I can push through it just like how you have throughout your life and that like you did not know this was your calling. And like look at you now, like you felt it and then you just went with it. And if you had someone had asked you like 20 years ago, this is what you were doing, you probably been like, what? So I truly think that you've instilled like really good values of being determined, having respect for ourselves, valuing ourselves, finding purpose, and yeah.
yeah, and I agree with all that, but also like standing your ground. I feel like you're very good at that. I feel like I also have those qualities, Bella, too. We're like, no, I just said you. Shh. Okay. Where like you like know like who you are and like you know you're true to yourself. Do you know what I mean? And like you don't let people just like not treat you how like like treat you how to treat others the way you want to be treated, if that makes sense. And also, your determination is very inspiring. Like with me, like I watch you and I'm like, wow, like you've come so far, you're like flourishing. And then also, like with myself, having like a role model like that when I'm trying to build something for myself is very inspiring. I say, you, mom, like you don't know the word no. Like someone tells you no, like you're gonna go, you're gonna make it happen. So, and that's why you're such a successful individual. So I'd say those are the things the main stuff. And like obviously maybe like one day your cooking would be nice for me to like have a value, like how good of a cook person you are, but like I don't know if it's gonna happen. But I can try.
Of course you can try, always. Okay, last question for you guys, and we'll switch roles. Why do you think a relationship between a mother and daughter is so important?
You want to go?
It's your turn.
Okay.
I
I
could
think
also,
the relationship between a mother and daughter is so important because it is like the foundation of like I don't know how to explain this very well, but I think like as a child growing up, like you always look into your mom and your mom inspires you and like you're like I want to be my mom when I grow up, you know? And so having a really good role model and having a really safe relationship and being able to confide in your mom and talk to her about anything that's going on in your life is super important and like builds the foundation of who you are as a kid into an adult. And I think that if you don't have a proper role model, especially for as a mom in a daughter's life, that, you know, it can create a lot of problems. And I think that a lot of kids who don't have like stable moms in their lives, it's not the same as if you had a good relationship with your mom. And I think it's truly important and that people should really like prioritize maintaining a really strong relationship with their moms, no matter an argument, no matter what it is, you move away. It's just family is like you can't replace that type of relationship. Like no one else can be your mom. So yeah.
yeah, I also agree with that. But, like as a child, as a daughter, like the first grown woman role model that you have in your life is your mom. So that bond is irreplaceable. And when you're going through life or like the different steps in life, like sometimes you just need to talk to your mom. Like your mom's advice is different than any other advice. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like Bella said, like family's irreplaceable, family sticks together. So having that relationship, I think, is very important, especially it being a girl. I think it's very important to have a relationship with your mother.
I completely agree with you guys. Okay. Now you guys get to be the interviewer. Who's gonna go first?
Okay, I'll go.
Be
First.
nice.
You go first. You go first.
Okay. What is the hardest part of being a mom that you don't always say out loud?
Oh my goodness. I would say trying to manage it all and making it look easy when it's not easy because everyone's watching you and they're expecting you to do it because you've been doing everything all the time smoothly. And if you just say like, I can't do it, it shocks the whole household. So I think that just keeping that like every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that is the hardest part, but you don't say it because that you just know that's your role and you have to do it and that's what's expected. And if you fall apart, the whole house will fall apart.
Okay. Good answer, Mom. All right. I'm gonna ask, um, what are you most afraid of when raising us in today's world?
Everything. It can be, I mean, I would say social media is one for sure. We've talked about that. The other thing is just you guys going out there, like being in the car, and I feel like everyone's distracted drivers with because of social media. So that really scares me. It's just I mean, forget that the crime, the shootings, just the world we live in. There's so much fear as a mom. The only way I have to say that I survive is I don't think about it. If I feel like when Yasmin went abroad, if I sit there and if I'm one of those moms, because I have friends, I have people around me, but if I'm one of those moms just sits there and just thinks every second, and what is she doing now? Where is she going? Is she safe? Did she make it back to her house? Did she make it on the airplane? Was she able to find the gate at the airport? Like, if I sit there and I think about those things, I will drive myself crazy and I will just become anxious. So the only way I can survive is not think about it and just say, okay, my husband and I have done good as far as giving you guys the best values and the best tools, and the rest of it, as you get on into the real world, is on you. And the whole thing is, we've tried to raise you guys so you can go out there and fly on your own. So I don't want to like helicopter you and keep you here as much as I would like to forever. I can't, and I have to let you go, and then I can step back and watch you guys become incredible human beings and start your own life. So it's just changing that mindset so that I don't live in fear and anxiety and worry. Um, is really, really important because a lot of moms, especially in the older generation, that's what they do. And they continue to do that. And that's not what I want. I don't want to live the second half of my life just always panicking and worrying. Even though as you guys get older, there's still fear and worries and more stress as you get older. It doesn't get any easier. Honestly, I feel like the toddler years are so much easier, but
Good answer. Is there something you wish you did differently as a mom?
You know, I think the greatest thing that I'm really, really happy, and again, this is different for every human being. For me, I needed to be at home with you guys. Maybe because I was a teacher and I love children, I just couldn't imagine being with other people's kids while someone else was with you guys. So I'm really, really grateful that I was able to, and I had the opportunity with our lifestyle to stay at home and be 100% with you guys and be involved in everything, be that dance mom, the volunteer mom. So in that ways, I really have no regrets at all, which is just it's so gratifying. But I would say if I knew not to worry about all the little stuff, like you're eating properly, you're doing this, like all of those little tiny things, those moments that we stress out about, like is she walking the way she's supposed to? Is she going through all her stages? Being more present. If I had known how fast it's going to just fly by, I would have been a lot more present than just worrying about the next thing I have to do the next day, tomorrow, the next week, and just stress about it. That's what I really recommend anyone who's in there, just be present. And it's taken me all these years to learn to actually live and be mindful and present. And that's what I try to do now. But I wish I'd done a lot more of that. If I'm playing Legos with you, like really playing Legos and not worrying about I have to make dinner, I have to go grocery shopping, I have to make the doctor's appointments. That's what I mean.
All right. Um, how do you try to model confidence and strength for us even on days you don't feel it?
Um, I mean, I think that I've made that kind of part of my routine, but I'm not perfect and I have days where maybe I don't feel really confident or I just don't feel strong or I'm overwhelmed. And I think modeling it by telling you guys and saying, I'm just not having a great day or I'm not like acknowledging. I always tell you guys to like acknowledge your feelings, don't bury it because that makes it worse. I think just being honest instead of acting like, oh, I'm a superwoman and I have no feelings and I never cry and I never get upset and I never get stressed out. That's not being authentic. It's just being real towards you guys and say, listen, mom's having a moment and I just don't feel really good about myself. I need a timeout or I need to go for a walk or this is what's going on in my mind. I think that is showing you guys a lot more empowerment at that moment.
Perfect. Give me 1 second. Um, have you ever, would you say, doubted yourself as a mother?
Course, because motherhood doesn't come with manuals. You have no idea. You really don't. I mean, with you, like first child, it's like all of a sudden you go to the hospital, you come home and you have this new person that is like, depending on you for every single moment of their life. It's a really, really scary feeling. And you don't have any sleep, you're just out of it. And that just goes on for all three. I think I really tried really hard to make it as much balance as I could with all three of you because I never wanted one of you to be like, oh, she spends more time with this person and through childhood, with classes, with activities. That leads a little bit to burnout, but I didn't want to have you guys to have any doubts. But for me as a mom, I did that all the time. I was like, am I doing this right? Did I make a mistake? Is this how I should have disciplined? Did I yell too loud or was I too easy? Like all these things that are running through your head all the time because and there was no chat GPT back then. Everyone's new best friend to go and say, oh, I did this. Is this okay? What advice do you have for me? No, I would sit there and just think about it and then reenact it in my head and like, did I do the right thing? Did I not do the right thing? What should I have done? And it really, I mean, those conversations in your head are exhausting.
What has being our mom taught you about yourself? What have you learned from us that changed the way you see yourself?
Oh, everything. I've learned so much from you guys. I've learned how to be a better person. I have learned to be less selfless, to give and give and give to you guys because I feel better when I do that. Just expanding our family and watching you guys grow and being excited for all the new chapters that you guys are entering, which is going to make me enter behind you. Um, and just, I mean, you guys, all three of you, I have to say I'm very fortunate. You're very wise. You have given me advice on really bad days. You have brought things to my attention that I didn't even realize that they're there. So having that now, it's so refreshing and rewarding to be like, I raised three human beings that now can reflect information that they've learned from me and their father, and then now teach us and remind us because again, we're not perfect and we might need reminders. We might forget something, about who we are, what we're doing, or doing the wrong thing, saying the wrong thing. And all three of you are incredible at reminding us and talking to us like you're much, much older and being so mature about it. So I learn all the time from the three of you.
Oh. Um, why is having such a strong relationship with your daughter so important to you?
I think just overall family is so important to me, and that's what makes me feel whole. It doesn't matter. That's part of being successful is having that family, having that connection, and being close. And of course, mother, daughter, different kids, different relationships has their own different parts, but we can relate in different ways. And as you go on into the world, I want you to feel comfortable to come and ask me for advice and those questions about whatever it may be in your relationship, in your friendship, whether it's advice, cooking in the kitchen, needing a recipe, whatever it is. I want you to have that bond. I'm fortunate enough, I'm close to my mom and I can call her up and ask her questions about that. So I wanted you guys to kind of follow that generation where you feel comfortable to ask me or talk to me about anything. And we can be more like friends, but friends with a level of just much deeper connection that can go on beyond just a regular girlfriend friendship because it's actually mother and daughter.
We finished our questions.
You guys did a great job. So let me ask you, we're gonna wrap it up in a second, but a few things. Let's talk about what has helped us in the past if we get into a disagreement. I know because when you have strong women, right? Sometimes we can clash and we're very opinionated and we like to talk and speak our words. So what has helped us instead of clash? Kind of reconnect and come back to each other after a disagreement because we have very similar personalities.
I would say take a step apart from each other and then try to think about the other person's perspective a little bit. Like maybe why are they feeling this way? Why is she so angry? Like why doesn't she understand? Like try to think a little bit more on like why the other person's feeling that way. And then I would say talk it out, but try to talk calmly and hear both sides to the story. Like you're not the only one that has a side and you're not always right. Like you need to have an open mind and be ready to be possibly wrong in a situation. So, yeah, I would say just try to talk calmly, take some space and be open-minded.
I agree with all that. Also, I think when me and my mom were like in the rockier stages, we had like this book and we would like write in it. I still like found it the other day. We write like notes in it and then like we put it under each other's pillow. And like that was like a very special like thing in our relationship. So I would say that really helped me at that age because sometimes like my mom would not like I wouldn't be hearing her if she was speaking to me or like raising her voice or if I was raising my voice. But if you're sitting by yourself, like before bed, reading like a note about the other person, you're more inclined to be able to understand. And that really helped me express my emotions at that stage to my mom and have her express them back.
I love that book, and I'm so happy you reminded me and you still have it. That was, oh, we should still continue that. Like I'll just drive over there sometimes and put it under your pillow. I love it. That's so sweet. Okay, last question. What would you tell another mother and daughter who feel disconnected right now? And how can they kind of rebuild their trust without needing to agree on everything and try to connect?
I would say it's hard. It depends what like stage of life you're in, but I remember you used to always say like there was a time where like me and you didn't really have much in common. Like we didn't like to do like similar activities, which was like hard because like you want to have that thing with like your
Mhm.
daughter. Um, Finding that. I would say finding the thing that you can do together, and there has to be something. Like with everyone, there's something. And then making that your thing together. Those little moments that like we've had with you, or like the little bonding like zinc breakfast or little like walks that we have, or like the times that like bring us together and like bring us back to each other. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Especially in like finding something. I also think like NCL, like we'll bring that up, like helped like because it had like a side activity where it's like, oh, like me and mom are like going to the meeting, and it would be like, oh, we have to drive to the meeting together. Because then you like don't drive with your kid anymore. Like
Yeah.
you have to drive by yourself. And like I remember like all the great memories of like when you would drive us to school and how we'd like be chatting and all that. And then like when you get your license, like that kind of all goes away too. So like, oh, me and mom have this activity together. Then you have like the car ride also. And like it just kind of like gives time for you to have just with your mom. You know what I mean?
I would also say like when I was smaller, I really enjoyed when we would have like those mommy and daughter like dates because it
Oh,
feels your parents putting aside time on like a Friday or Saturday or planning like a whole activity like movie, dinner, bowling, painting, whatever it may be. And so it really felt like one-on-one and you really felt special. And even to do it with both parents, your mom and your dad. And especially if you have other siblings, like sometimes life can get so chaotic where you're not getting that one-on-one time. Like your mom might be doing a ton of stuff for you, but you're not getting that quality time. So being able to hang out one-on-one and like your parent like making that time specifically for you can really like bring the connection closer.
What I'm reminded of today is this. We don't need to always agree to stay connected. We don't need perfection to create love. We don't need to have all the answers to be a family, but what we need is the willingness to listen, to grow, to forgive, to come back to one another with open hearts. To my girls, thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, no matter how far you go, never forget this. You do not have to earn your worth. You were born with it. Watching you become who you are is one of the greatest joys of my life. Even when it breaks my heart a little bit, I'm not going to cry to let you go. Thank you for making me a mother, but even more than that, thank you for teaching me who I am. And to every woman listening, whether you are a mother, have a mother, are raising daughters, or are still healing that relationship, do not give up on love across generations because when women stay connected, when we choose honesty, grace, and understanding over pride and perfection, that is where real empowerment begins. Happy early Mother's Day to you all. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Yasmin and Isabella, for being on Female Fluence today.
Thank you so much for having
thank you
us.
for having us.
Thank you for spending this time with me here on Female Fluence, where we rise, reflect, and remember who we are. If something from today's episode spoke to you, share it with another woman who's ready to rise too. And before you go, download your free empowerment coaching guide at femalefluence.com. It's your next step toward living with more clarity and confidence. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at pearlmashour_femalefluence. And if you're ready for deeper support, sign up for a free discovery call. I would love to connect with you. Remember, my friends, don't just exist. Live your life fully, bravely, and in truth. I'm Pearl Mashour, and until next time, stay true, stay powerful, and stay you.